Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We like justice because we'd like to be treated fairly. And even a child knows what justice is when you have a few children and let's say in the kindergarten and you give them candy. When you give them candies, you give one child one candy and you give another child two candies of the same kind. The guy who saw that he got one candy but the neighbor guy got two candies will realize that he is undervalued. That is something that we realize immediately. Why? Because that kid who got one candy, doesn't think that he is inferior to the other one that got two candies. So in his mind obviously thinks, hey, this is unfair. Moreover, when you have this kind of treatment, engraved in a law saying that we're all equal in front of the law, and you're treated differently, then you say, wait a minute, I might not be better than you, but I should be treated equally in front of the law. You know what I mean? Over there, the kid doesn't think, oh, he's better or I'm not better. Why is he getting the two? Because I'm a kid, he's a kid. We're equal. But in society, we're not equal. Some of us are worse, some of us are better. In many ways, But then in front of the law, we're all the same. So you know exactly when the justice is tipped left or right. So why did I make this little claim here? I made this little claim because of the article that I'm going to discuss now. And that is an article where you might think, or we might think, that some people are just achieving certain kinds of success, and it's a little bit strange to point it out, or at least might be dangerous to point it out. Since we live in a society here, at least in the Western countries, that pushes equity and pushes equality, a strange kind of equality. They say that the equality in outcome, that means regardless how much effort I put, or where I come from, or my background, should get the same result as you do. Regardless how much I work, I should do that. And if I don't reach the same level as you did, it's because someone oppressed me somewhere. But it's politically incorrect here to say, well, you know what, this group is more, able, has more skills as a group than this group in this kind of activity. All right? But somehow it is not politically incorrect to when certain groups are straightforwardly told, or we are told, that those groups are better than others. That's why they are more numerous and, let's say, dominate certain kind of areas. And I will point out, for instance, basketball. Nobody would say that, for instance, that, hey, the NBA is overwhelmingly of a certain kind of group, dominated. Nobody would say that. Well, if someone would point that out, would be called this and that and that. That means shut the fuck up. Don't notice the obvious. But what would you say? And the argument is that you have to accept, well, they're better. They're simply better at it. But when you have the reverse coin and you have another activity where another group is majority, it has a majority, and you say, well, you can't say, well, let's say hockey. Well, they're just simply better. You can't say that. Why is that? Because we are equal in front of the law. We have different qualities, obviously. We have different preferences. The problem is, why is it politically incorrect to notice a reality here, let's say hockey, versus NBA? Because if you say, well, this group dominates hockey, it's not a good thing. They will look for something negative because some other groups must be oppressed. But in basketball, if you have this group dominating basketball, you cannot say the same thing. Hey, because the other groups are oppressed and only these guys are allowed. You gotta say, because these guys are better. Simply, they have something better than the other groups. That's what's gonna be. But on the other hand, you can't say about the other group that way. Now, we have here an article that tell us, and we are supposed to believe it, that, the Westerners are punishing Russians, big stretch of the word Russian in this case, and you're going to figure out exactly what I'm talking about when I'm going to mention the name. Yes, his name is Abramovich, who's a Russian, as Zelensky is a Russian. And they try to tell us that Abramovich, the Russian oligarch, will be sanctioned by Canada. I guarantee you that the Russian Abramovich will not be sanctioned by Canada, or if he will be, he would be in a very weasel way. Why? Because, as I said, you can't do that. He's a victim somehow. I don't know if you remember or if you know, but in the 1990s, when Russia was at its worst economically, socially, militarily, culturally, the guys who were riding high on the so-called oligarchs, 90% of them, or 80%, I'm just taking 8 out of 10. You can find that on many sites, and it's not only, oh my God, it's that kind of site. No, you look for the Russian oligarchs. Just look. 1990s Russian oligarchs. Remember, Russian is just, like I tell you, I'm human. Okay? And look, for instance, who were they? And don't get the names and the faces if you're not. Look at their real names and their real origin. And you're going to find out that a group dominates any other group. Any other group. You can't say that they're better in doing that than other groups. Remember? You can't say that. Because that means you're stereotyping, you're generalizing. It's like you say, well, that group, I don't know, is lazy. Or you can't say that group is good with the money. You can't say that. Because that means they're good at something as a group and the other ones are not as good. You can't say that by the, you know what I mean? And yeah, for good reasons. But remember, we have here Abramovich, who they tell me that Canada of Trudeau, who's supported by this kind of Russians, will impose some sanctions on Abramovich. Don't hold your breath. So, this article comes from Ukrinform, and it tells us that Canada to seize assets of Russian oligarch Abramovich. Proceeds may be used to help rebuild Ukraine. On December 19, 2022, the government of Canada announced that Canada would seize and pursue the forfeiture of the assets owned by Roman Abramovich, a sanctioned Russian oligarch. They don't tell you he's Jewish, he's Russian, because now it fits that. But when they need to do something else, they're going to immediately say a Jewish, whatever, Russian something. Okay? He's not going to be sanctioned. He's not going to get in trouble. He's not going to get in trouble. Because when he's about to get in trouble, he's going to say, well, actually, I'm not this, I'm that, and then I'm this, and you can't do this to me, you owe me. And when you're going to mention a few words, everybody's going to go back and say, no. All right? So, I don't know. This guy somehow doesn't like to go to Russia. But he's a Russian oligarch and he lives in London, or used to. I don't know how. These oligarchs end up either in London, Israel, when they are followed by the law, or they go to United States of America. You see that guy who just fucked up the Bitcoin, that kind of currency? He's in Bahamas, and he was supposed to be extradited to the United States. I'm waiting for that guy to be somehow sleeping and ending up in another country, that doesn't have extradition agreements with the United States of America. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that. Why? We have many examples in the past. I'm not going to give them to you, so I'm not accused of that and this. So, according to Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, Ottawa will seize and pursue the forfeiture of US $26 million from Granite Capital Holdings Ltd., a company owned by Abramovich. For him, those $26 million is like, for me, I don't know, you see this little right here, that over there, that's all. But anyway, not even that. But anyways, money is his money. Why would you take it away? If he's going to call, and I'm going to use a few terms, and he's going to call on the diaspora in Canada, this little fucker called Melanie Joly, she's going to be out of the office yesterday. Okay? So I don't want anything to happen to Abramovich just because he's, from Russia and he is a wealthy person. Did he steal the money? If he did, then we have a problem. If he didn't, leave the guy alone. Did he steal it from you? Is he supporting Putin? Is he, okay, here's my money, Putin, for you to kill the rest of the world? So I'm begging Abramovich, if he's clean. I'm just pointing out to a little coincidence. We have the leaders, the handlers of Ukraine, Abramovich. Okay, we have Blinken, Abramovich. Okay, we have many Abramoviches around, and it's just a coincidence. I made a lot of video and I pointed out this, and which is okay. But you can't stereotype. You can't give me, well, what do you want? They're smart. You can't say that. You can't say, well, maybe they're good with money. You can't say that. Because if you say that, you can say, and I know that's going to be called somehow, well, they like money. Hey, they are like this. But why do you use only the positives that you try to hide certain things, but not the negatives? That's why do not use anything. But it's an observation. If you would have, tell me how many Romanians are involved in the Ukraine war. How many did you hear about Romanians? I'm outside. Romanian born. You tell me one Romanian. Tell me one Mexican. Tell me one Mexican that is in a position of power in Russia, Ukraine, United States, Germany, France, Great Britain, related, Lithuania, Baltic states, related to the Ukrainian war. And you tell me, how come? But we have numerous of other people that represent that. How come? I mean, shouldn't I ask the question? Am I allowed to observe? I'm allowed to say it out loud what I see, and you can see, you can verify. And you might ask, so what? Well, it's not that so what, because again, it's so what is like I give you the example of the Jewish state, which is Israel, right? Having the first, 4 people, the most powerful people in Israel, let's say should be Iranians or Palestinians. Don't you see any problems? And you would wonder, why aren't they over there? Why are not the president, prime minister, the minister of defense, the chief of staff, the chief of Mossad, are, let's say, Palestinians? Why not? But they are in Ukraine. Oops. Or they are, okay, including the oligarchs. I dare you to go and check the oligarchs' names and their family and their childhood and so on, and find out who they really are. And you will be surprised, and then you're going to say, is that a coincidence? Well, if you think it's a coincidence, why don't you give me about $20,000 tonight, and I will give it to you Wednesday at noon with an interest of 3,000%. The interest 3,000% by Wednesday. Please do that. Be so smart. All right, thank you very much. What I'm trying to say is that Canada is going to touch something that they don't know where the smack is going to come from. They're playing with fire, but they will not play too far, because that Jolie, Melanie, whatever her name is. She knows exactly what she's supposed to do. And the $26 million for Abramovich is zero. Zero. But if it's his money, he should keep it. Nobody should have any claims of anybody's money if they were acquired by honest work. I have no evidence that Abramovich did anything wrong. Do you? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.